Hello students, today we are going to discuss physics mains paper on 29th, 1st 2023, right. So now, so the very first question is a straightforward question, that is a force F is equal to minus 40x acts on a particle of mass 1 kg, where x is the position of the particle, right. If the maximum speed of the particle is 4 meter per second and we need to find the amplitude. So, and all the parameters they have given in SI system, right. So, as the force is given F is equal to minus 40x, right. So, then the K value, the force constant is 40, right, 40 Newton per meter, right, and we have to find the amplitude, and they have already given maximum speed. Maximum speed is equal to omega times amplitude, right. So, and this maximum speed they gave it as 4 meter per second. This is equal to omega value, I can write it as root over k by m into amplitude, fine. So, and here this 4 meter per second is equal to root over that k value is 40 divided by m value, they gave it as 1 kg, right, into amplitude. So, and this will become, right, so this will become this is after simplifying this one, so we will get, right. So, that will be under root 40 means that is 4 tens and root, and this will become A is equal to, so 2 by root 10 meters, okay. This is the right. Next, so and the second question is again it is also straightforward question, right. So, there are two inclined planes of different inclinations, of course, right, but one is smooth inclined plane and another one is rough inclined plane, right. So, one inclined plane inclination is 45 degrees and for another one inclination is 60 degrees, okay, right. And if the ratio of time taken to slide on then is n, then find the coefficient of friction. They have given the ratios, of course, right. Now, see, this is rough one and this is a smooth one. They have given on a smooth inclined plane, the acceleration we know that is equal to g sin theta. Over the inclined planes, both the inclined planes, it travels, it comes down, right. So, while it is coming down, so they travel some distance, right, and in this question they haven't mentioned anything about the height. So, we will consider the heights are same, yeah, they have mentioned. So, so they are released from same height, these are the heights, okay, right, this is the heights, done. So, now so they have given time takens are already given, ratios they have given, that is n they have given, and we have to find the coefficient of friction. So, here if this height, if I consider it as h, then the distance covered, this will become, this is h by sin 45, you will get it. In the similar way, this value you will get it as h by sin 60, h by sin 60 you will get it, okay. Now, I can write for the smooth inclined plane h by sin 45 degrees, that is equal to, it travels a distance h by sin 45 with a constant acceleration, that will become, that is g sin 45 degrees, right. So, I am writing simply that s is equal to ut plus half a t square, initial velocity is 0, simply half into g sin 45 into this will become t square. In the first case, I am taking the corresponding time as t1, okay. So, the corresponding time is t1, right. So, in the second case, where of corresponding to the rough inclined plane, so that distance travelled is, that is h by that is sin 60 degrees, right, that is equal to half times. So, now I have to find the acceleration of the block, right. So, you know, over the rough surface the acceleration is equal to a is equal to, so g into, so you can write directly sin theta minus mu k cos theta. So, this you will get it. So, by taking the components, mg component will be there in this direction and kinetic frictional force is there up the inclined plane. From that you will get acceleration is equal to g into sin theta minus mu k cos theta. Even I can write this one as So this is g into sine 60 minus mu value only we have to find as per the question. So mu into this is cos 60 degrees, right. So that I will substitute here. This will become g into, so sine 60 degrees, sine 60 degrees minus mu cos 60 degrees into T2 square. This is the corresponding time. So if you divide both the equations, then it will become sine 60 by sine 45. This will become root 3 by 2 divided by 1 by root 2. So that is equal to so half g things will be getting cancelled. This is again sine 45 1 by root 2 divided by this is root 3 by 2 minus mu into, and this will be cos 60 is 1 by 2, cos 60 is 1 by 2, 1 by 2 into, and this is ratio of the time square, that is nothing but as per the question, that is n, that will take it as n square. So and from this, so here this root 2 if you take to the other side, and this root 2 and this root 2, ultimately you can cancel this one this 2, and now that n square you will get it as again, so root 3 into, now you will get it as, so from this equation you will get, so here, so I am erasing this one, so that n square is equal to, so this is 1 by 2, sorry, this will be so root 3 times of, you will get it as root 3 by 2 minus mu into 1 by 2, right. This thing you are getting, and this will become, so n square, so minus this will be n square is equal to 3 by 2 minus mu into root 3 by 2. So from this even you can get this mu value is, so n square 3 by 2 minus n square, and again that into you will get it as 2 by root 3, you have to write it. So now, so this will become the second option, fine. So next we will go for the another question. So the another question is, here in this question, a particle undergoing uniform circular motion about the origin at an instant, at a certain instant at x is equal to 2 meters, it has the velocity minus 4 j cap meter per second. Find the velocity and acceleration of the particle when it is at x is equal to minus 2 meter. It is also straightforward question, right. So uniform circular motion question, right, and the particle is moving in a uniform circular motion about the origin, right. So I am taking, this is the xy coordinate system I am taking. So the particle is moving in a uniform circular path, right. So now so this is x is equal to 0 and this is x is equal to plus 2 meter, and this is obviously x is equal to minus 2 meter. So at x is equal to 2 meters, the velocity is, they have given it as v is equal to minus 4 j cap. That means this I am taking it as positive y axis, and this one I am taking it as positive x axis, and this one is the negative y axis. So obviously when the particle is here, the velocity is, as per the information, the velocity is in the downward direction, right. So the particle has velocity in downward direction. From this I can say that the particle is moving in anti-clockwise sense, right. And what we have to find is, we have to find the acceleration of the particle when it is at x is equal to minus 2 meter. So when it is at x is equal to minus 2 meter, so its acceleration is obviously, as it is a uniform circular motion, acceleration is directed towards the center. So here at this location, the acceleration is along the positive x axis. That acceleration I can write it as, the magnitude of acceleration is, simply will write it as v square by radius. So v value as per the question, that is 4. So then I can write the magnitude of acceleration is 4 square divided by 4 square divided by, so radius of the circular path is obviously 2 meters we are getting. So from this you will get the acceleration is 8 meter per second square, right, and that too at this location acceleration is along the positive x axis. So that means the acceleration is equal to 8 I cap, and the velocity is at that location, the velocity is along this direction which is along the positive y axis, the velocity is 4 j cap. So now the second option is the correct option, right. So we will go for the next question, right. Yeah. So in this question, so the man pulls a block as shown in the figure, right, and here nothing is mentioned about the pulleys and all these pulleys are ideal pulleys, and we will consider the strings are ideal strings, okay, right. Now, so as per the statements, given statements, we consider the following statements. The work done by gravity on the block is, they have given it as positive. So actually while the block is moving upward direction, the gravitational force is in downward direction and the displacement is in upward direction. So work done by the gravity on the block is negative. So and one more thing, if the man pulls the block with a constant speed, then the tension in the string equal to the weight. Yeah, obviously. So when the block is moving with constant speed, net force acting on the block is 0. So that is why I can say the tension is numerically equal to the weight of the block, right. So now B and C are the correct options here. It's straightforward question, and we will go for the next question. So in the next question, see, this is also this question is from AC, and here in the first case, so in the figure A, they have given that an AC source is connected to a resistor. In this case, I can directly write IRMS is equal to, simply I can write VRMS by the resistance value, I can write it. So the here the resistance value, so that is 4 ohm they have given. So coming to this situation, in this circuit, so if you want to find the IRMS value, that will be simply VRMS divided by, you have to write the impedance. So the impedance value here you can write it here. So it's an series LCR circuit. So if you want to find the impedance value, that impedance value, right, so even you can write like this, this is the resistance R, and this is what do you say, inductive reactance, and this will be the capacitive reactance, so 1 by omega C. Now I can write that impedance as Z is equal to under root, so R square plus, so you can take either 1 by omega C minus omega L or omega L minus 1 by omega C whole square, it does not matter, right. So here I can write this is 1 by omega C minus omega L whole square. So now as per the question, so here 1 by omega C minus omega L value you will get it as, this is 1 by omega C they give it as 5 ohm and omega L they gave it as 3 ohm. So that will become, this is under root, you will get it as R square is 4 square here, 4 square plus that value is 5 minus 3 whole square, and this value is VRMS, simply VRMS divided by that value is 4. So you have to compare these two. Obviously the RMS current in this circuit is more as compared with this one, okay, right. So as the impedance is more here as compared with the resistance here, so that is why RMS in the first circuit is more than the RMS in the second circuit. Done. Now coming to this question, right. So this is the question from the logic gates, right. So the inputs are we have to take at A and B, and those inputs are connected to NOT gate and the AND gate and the OR gate, right. So they are asking the final output. So let us check. Yeah. First I will consider A0 and B0, right. When you consider A0, B0, so as A is connected to, one terminal is connected to NOT gate, here you will get this one is 1, right, and this one is, you will get it as 0, and again B is connected to NOT gate as well as another terminal also, that is why this value will be 1 and this is 0, fine. So now if you think the output here, here and here, this will become, this is an AND gate. So the basic definition of the AND gate is when both the inputs are high, then only output is high, otherwise output is low. So that's why I'll get this is 0 and this is 0, right? Why? Because for this AND gate, so for this AND gate, one input is high, other input is low, so that's why obviously output is low, right? Same thing with this AND gate also. Now these input again the outputs you are getting as 0 and 0 as well, right? Now so you have to take the gain. So these inputs are given to this OR gate. So let us check the output, and this again you will get it as 0. Now so here in these two options only, 3 and 4 only, we have what do you say, for A0 B0 we have 0, output is 0, and if you check the one more output, so then easily you can sort out the equations here, right? So rather I will go for this 1 and 1. So if it is 1 and 1, if it is 1 and 1, so here you will get this is 0 and 1, here 0 and 1 you will get it, again you will get 0 and 0, you should get output 0. So but here they have given it as output is 1, so that's why this is the correct answer. So the next question, so in communication system, right, so the maximum voltage is 14 MV and minimum voltage is 16 millivolt, right? In communication system the maximum voltage is 14 millivolt and minimum voltage is 6 millivolt. Find out the modulation index, right? Now when you consider, so here they are directly asking about the amplitude modulated wave, right? So in the amplitude modulated wave, so the carrier wave is already modulated, right? So once it is modulated, then only, so you can find a modulated carrier wave. So this is the modulated carrier wave, right? And in this modulated carrier wave, they have given the maximum amplitude and the minimum amplitude. So this is the maximum amplitude and this is the minimum amplitude. This is V max and this is V minimum. So directly you can write modulation index as mu is equal to, so V max minus V minimum divided by V max plus V minimum. So this will become, and here that is 14 minus 6 divided by 14 plus 6. So this will become 14 minus 6, 8 divided by this will be 20. So now this will become, so 4 by 5. 4 by 5, it's like 14 plus 6, right? Yeah. So I did committed a mistake. Wait a second. Yeah. So 8 divided by this will become, right? Yeah. This is 20 and this will become, yeah, fine, clear thing only. So this will become, we are getting it as V maximum plus V minimum and V maximum minus V minimum, right? This is 14 minus 6. 14 minus 6 is 8 and 14 plus 6 is 20 and this will be 4 by 5. So here we are ending up at 0.8. So we did not find the answer here. So modulation index only they are asking. Okay, right, 20 and it's okay, fine, right. So we did not find the option here, right. So next, the another question is, so the gravitational potential due to a solid uniform sphere of mass capital M and radius capital R at a point radial distance r and from the center, right, and smaller greater than capital R they have given from its center is equal to gravitational potential due to uniform solid sphere of mass capital M and radius r, right. So they are asking simply potential that will become for a sphere, solid sphere, if you consider a point which is at a distance r, so the gravitational potential is that you will get it as minus g capital M by small r. So over the surface you will get it as minus g capital M by capital R, right? And for internal point, of course, it will change. So it's a straightforward question, right? So next, right? So now, yeah, wait a second. Go for the previous question. Yes. Yeah, here I committed a mistake. Wait a second. Right here, this one is yes, this thing. So 4, yeah, 2's yeah, 4 2's and 4 5's and this will become 0.4. Yes, this is option, right? So now, so another question, right? Now the resolving power of a compound microscope will increase with. So the resolving power of a microscope is nothing but, so here resolving power means, so first we have to find the minimum angular separation up to which a microscope can distinguish the things. The reciprocal of that thing will give you the resolving power. So the resolving power as given as, that is resolving power so that is directly proportional to, you can write it as mu sin theta by lambda, right? So even there will be 2 also, you can take it, right? So lambda is the wavelength of the light used, right? So the resolving power, right, is depending on the wavelength as well as this is mu sin theta. Mu sin theta is nothing but the numerical aperture, right? So now it will increase. See, it will increase. It will. The first option is decrease in wavelength of the light and increase in numerical aperture. You will get it, right? So if you resolving power of the compound microscope will increase in what situations? If you decrease the wavelength, obviously resolving power will increase, and if you increase this numerical aperture, then also resolving power will increase, right? So decrease in wavelength of the light and increase in numerical aperture, right? So next, done. So let us go for the another question. So here it is given that this is a question from dimensional analysis, right? So it is given that x square plus y square is equal to a square, where a is the radius also, and it is given that x minus alpha t whole square plus y minus t by beta whole square is equal to a square, where t is the time. So now, so obviously here they have given, so a is the radius, so obviously its units meter square or centimeter square, you will get it, its dimension you will get it as length, okay. And even if you consider this equation, the second equation, so from this equation, right, by using the principle of homogeneity, so the terms which are added or subtracted, those should be having same dimensional formula. And even the first term over there is x minus alpha t whole square they have given. So the x as well as alpha t both should be having same dimensions. As we know, for the x dimension is L, so that is why for alpha t the dimension must be L. So that is only possible if the dimensions of alpha are L by t. Fine, right? So now, so the dimensions of alpha I can write it as m power 0, so L power 1, t power minus 1, right? Next, so again they are asking about beta also. For beta, again see, you check it out, the term is y minus t by beta whole square, and y having the dimensions length, right? So that is why t by beta must be having the same dimensions as that of y. So now, so here there should not be any dimensions of t, so that's why I can write for this one the dimensions are, so I can write that is t power t by L. These are the dimensions of beta. Then only if you substitute that here, time gets cancelled, again you will get length. So then from this I can write the dimensions of beta as, that is m power 0, right, and L power minus 1, L power minus 1 and t power 1, right. So now yeah, so this will be the thing, first thing, okay, right. Next we will go for the another question, right. So in this question, the electromagnetic waves are not deflected by electric field and magnetic field, right? Yeah, exactly. So here the electromagnetic waves, those are the effects, electric field as well as the magnetic field, right? So they are not deflected by any electric field and magnetic field, that is straightforward thing, right? So the reason is electromagnetic wave doesn't carry any charge, so that they are not deflected by the electric field and the magnetic field. So both A and B are correct, and also B is a reason, I mean this reasoning is the exact reason for that assertion, right? So that's why first option is the correct thing, okay, right? So the reason is the correct explanation for the first statement. Next, the de Broglie wavelength of a body of mass m and kinetic energy is given by. So de Broglie wavelength, will write it as lambda is equal to h by p. So kinetic energy, momentum you can write it as h by momentum, you can write it as root over 2m into the kinetic energy, that kinetic energy is E. Lambda is equal to h by root over 2m E, sorry, lambda is equal to h by, so root over 2m, this thing, right? So next, the next thing is, yeah, in a region of electric field 30 volts per meter, so a charge particle of charge q is equal to 2 into 10 power minus 4 coulomb is displaced slowly from 1, 2 to origin. So the work done by the external agent is equal to, right? So here as per the question, so the electric field is along the x axis, so that I will consider as a uniform electric field in this way, right? So now the charge particle is displaced slowly from point 1, 2 to origin, right? So the point 1, 2, let me represent first, this is x axis and this is y axis. So this is 1, this is along y2, this is the point I am considering, this is 1, 2, right? Right, 1, 2, that is the point, right? Now the particle is the charge particle is taken from where to where, from this point to the origin, right? You can take any path, infinite number of paths you can take it, for all the paths work done is same, right? So I am taking in that the path is from here to here as well as from here to here. For this path work done is 0, and for this path work done we have to find, right? So now, and here the work done by the external agent is, now one more thing, while the charge is moved in this way, fine, and even you can directly write, so as the charge is moved, then I can write work done by the external agent plus work done by the electrostatic force, that is equal to delta k. So the delta k is equal to 0, and work done by the external agent is equal to, simply I can write negative of work done by the electrostatic force, right? Now work done by the electrostatic force for this path is obviously 0, and for this path only you have to find. So now the charged particle is the positive charged particle. On the positive charged particle there will be, while it is moved from here to here, so there will be force in this way, electrostatic force, right? Electrostatic force is in this way, right? So but the charged particle is moved in this way, right? So work done by the electrostatic force is obviously negative, right? So negative of negative will get of course positive, right? And here work done by the electrostatic force, I will write it, and the force is constant force, right? Work done you can write it as dot product of the force and the displacement here, right? So the displacement is obviously you will get 1 meter, you will get it, and electrostatic force is in this way and the displacement is in this way, right? Both are in opposite direction. I can write that force is simply work done is, so force QE multiplied by the displacement thing is 1 meter, and there is a minus sign. The reason is there in opposite direction, and this will become minus of minus plus, this only you are getting. So Q into E, so Q into E, that value will get it as E value is 30 and Q value is 2, and you will get 60 into 10 power minus 4 joules you will get it, right? So this will become 6 millijoules, right? Again, so this question is basing on the potentiometer to find the internal resistance of an unknown battery, I think so, yes. So internal resistance of an unknown battery and here what they have given, consider the following potentiometer circuit when the switch S is open, right? So when this switch is open, right, so the corresponding balancing length they have given it as 300 centimeters, right? So corresponding to that balancing length, you will get the EMF is equal to, right, this EMF is directly proportional to that balancing length, I mean potential gradient into balancing length. We will get it in both the situations. If you do not disturb the primary circuit, then potential gradient remains same, right, at the balancing length condition. So, that is why E directly proportional to the balancing length. In the first case, that balancing length I am taking as L1, right. And coming to the second case, when the switch is closed, right, so there will be another balancing length, right. So, that balancing length is 200 centimeters they have given, I will consider it as L2, right. Now, corresponding that balancing length, what happened, there is a current circulating in this way, and at the same time there is a current circulating in this way, and at the balancing length the terminal potential difference across this battery or terminal potential difference across this resistor is same as that of the potential difference across the balancing length. Now, the potential difference across this resistor or terminal potential difference across the battery, I can write it as the current is E by the current value, let me write the current value, I can write it as E by capital R plus small r, this is the current, right. So, driven in this circuit multiplied by the resistance, this resistance value will give you the potential difference across this resistor, potential difference across this battery. So, that again that is directly proportional to the balancing length, that is L2, right. If you divide these two equations, right, so then E gets cancelled, then you can write, so R plus small r divided by capital R, so that is equal to L1 by L2. So, we need to find I think capital R they have given it as 5 ohm, and we have to find the internal resistance only. Then this implies 5 plus small r divided by 5 is equal to, you can write that value is 300 by, remove it, then cancel it, and here this will be 10 plus 2r is equal to 15, right. So, and this implies R is equal to, so this is 2.5 ohm you are getting. So, 2.5 ohm, fine, okay, this done. So, the next question, so this is the question basing on the RMS speeds and the average speed, right. So, at 300 Kelvin the RMS speed of an ideal gas molecule, the RMS speed of gas molecule is root over alpha plus 5 by alpha times the average speed of the gas molecules, then find the value of alpha, and they are asking you to take the pi value is equal to 22 by 7, right. Now, the RMS speed you will write it as V RMS is equal to root over 3 RT by m naught, where m naught is the molar mass, T is the temperature of the gas in Kelvin square, right. This is the RMS speed, and the average speed, yeah. So, the average speed you will get it as root over 8 RT by pi m naught. So, at the same temperature only you have to take the ratio here, right. So, now if you divide these two equations, then you will get the V RMS thing is V RMS by average speed. So, that is equal to we are getting, so RT by m naught getting cancelled, then this will become root over, so 3 by 8, right, yeah, right. So, this will be pi, fine. So, now so this is equal to under root, so you can write this value is, let us simplify that one, so 3 into 22 by 7 divided by 8. So, now this will become, this is equal to under root, so 2 4 ja and so 2 11 ja, right, and this will become 33 and yeah, So 33 divided by 28 you are getting. So this will become, yes sir, so this will be under root, you can write it as this 33 you can write it as 28 plus 5 divided by 28. So now the answer will be 28. Okay, right. So next I will go for the another question, right. So an alpha particle and proton are accelerated through the same potential. The ratio of the de Broglie wavelength of the alpha particle to proton is equal to 1 by root x. Then what is the value of what is x, right. So the de Broglie wavelength is given by lambda is equal to again h by p, that equal to h by p value is root over 2m into energy, I can write it, kinetic energy I can write it, but the alpha particle as well as the proton are accelerated through what do you say they are accelerated through the same potential difference. When they are accelerated through the same potential difference, so they acquire the same kinetic energy, of course, right. So now but so here ultimately the mass is different, so then I can write it, so lambda is inversely proportional to the root over mass, right. So now, so from this I can write the ratio of de Broglie wavelengths of the alpha particle to the proton they are asking, right. So lambda of alpha divided by lambda of proton, so that is equal to under root mass of the proton divided by what do you say mass of the mass of the proton divided by mass of the alpha particle, fine. So they have given that the ratio, they have given it as this as 4 under root 4, fine. So and so so we need to find how much we have to find the ratio, fine. So mass of the proton divided by mass of the alpha particle, that you will get it as, this will be 1 by 4 and this will be, they have given it as 1 by root 4 we are getting. So in place of x we have 4, therefore x is equal to 4, fine. So next thing is the time period of rotation of a planet is 24 hours. If the radius decreases to 1/4 of the original value, then the new time period is x hours they are giving, right. Find 2x. So we know time periods, square of the time period is directly proportional to the cube of the radius, right. And here so in one case the time period of the rotation of the planet is 24 hours, and in other case when the radius is some r, right. If it is reduced to 1/4, then what is the value of the time period they are asking, right. So from this I can write T1 square by T2 square is equal to R1 cube by R2 cube. So from this T1 square by T2 square, that is equal to, here I can write, so R1 by R1 is R I am taking, this will be R by 4 whole cube, and this will get it as, this will become 4 cube will get it, this is 64. So this implies I can write, so T1 by T2 is equal to 8, fine. So now and here so T1 value we got it as, this one is T1 value is how much, that value is 24 hours, and T2 value how to find, the T2 value you will get it as 3 hours, right, fine. And but they are asking find 2x they are asking, right. So that will be 6. Next, so a projectile is fired with a velocity 54 km per hour. 54 km per hour means 54 into 5 by 18, this will become 15 meter per second, right. So now So an object is projected with an initial speed u at some angle theta, and that angle is of course that is given as 45 degrees. So with a speed, that speed is equal to, that is 15 meter per second. Obviously it travels in a parabolic path, right. So now the mass of the particle they have given it as 1 kg, and the angular momentum of the particle about the point of projection, about this reference point, you have to find in 1 second, during 1 second, first 1 second, right. So or else from t equal to 0 to t equal to 1, at t equal to 1 second we have to find the angular momentum, and that value they have given it as 5n by root 2, and what is the value of n, right. So now so here while it is moving on this one, there will be gravitational force. Because of the gravitational force, obviously the momentum is, vector is changing, right. Definitely there is a torque about this point due to the gravitational force. So usually you can write, so the, because of the torque angular momentum is changing, right. So I can write, so the tau is equal to rate of change of angular momentum dl by dt. Now this is equal to, so change in angular momentum is equal to tau times dt. So over a finite time interval, if you want to find the change in angular momentum, you have to take the integral d tau, right. So initially the angular momentum is 0, right. Why? Because about this point only we have to find during the motion, right. At t equal to 0 the velocity vector is passing through this point, so angular momentum is 0, right. So even I can write, so that initial angular momentum is 0, at 1 second angular momentum 1 I am taking, the limits are t equal to 0 to 1 second, fine. So this is equal to, I can write this is equal to, so tau value, torque value we have to find, this will become tau dt, and tau value I can write it as, that is torque due to mg only we have to write it. So torque due to mg at any instant, if you want to write, this is a gravitational force mg about this axis. Suppose if you consider this is axis, torque due to mg is ultimately depending on this distance, that value let me write, then integral. So tau value I can write it as mg into this distance at any time t, I can write it as u cos theta into t, okay, right. So mg into, so u cos theta into t into dt. So this will become, so mg value, so and u cos theta value also you can write it. So mg value and u cos theta value is constant over there, you can write mg into u cos theta, so into integral t dt, you will get t square by 2. So after that you can write the limits also. So this will become, so mg u cos theta, m value is 1 kg and that is 10, so 10 into u value you will get it as 15 cos 45, so that will become 15 by root 2 into 15 by root 2. So into the limits are t is equal to 0 to t is equal to 1. So if you substitute that thing, this will become 1 by 2 after taking the limits. So now this will become, right, and 5 times gets cancelled, then so 5 root 15 by, sorry, 5 into 15 by root 2 we got it. In place of n the value is that is 15, okay. So now a block of mass 20 kg is moved with a constant force F for 20 seconds and it starts from rest, and then F is removed. So it is then observed that the block moves 50 meters in next 10 seconds, right. Now here in this case the force is acting, constant force is acting up to 20 seconds, after that the force is removed. Once the force is removed, it moves with a constant speed, right. Because of the constant speed, right, it travels 50 meters in 10 seconds. Then that speed, that constant speed I can directly write it as, so that will be 5 meter per second. So the moment they are removing the force, at that instant the speed is equal to, you are getting as 5 meter per second, right. So now, so acceleration of the object, so that value you can write it as, there is a constant force, right. So now velocity acquired is in 20 seconds, velocity acquired is, that is 5 meter per second, then v is equal to initial velocity a block moved with a constant force starting from rest, initial velocity 0 plus acceleration if you want to write, that is force by m into time. Fine. So now this v value, so as per the question, that is 5 meter per second. So that is equal to, so F by mass value they have given it as 20 kg into T. So the T value is also how much? That is 20 second, right? So then F value will get as 5 Newton. Fine, right? Next. So the next question is the atomic mass number of a nuclei A is 16 and half life is 1 day. Right, the values of nuclei B are 32 and okay, right. So here you have to understand this question. The atomic mass number of nuclei A is, that is 16 and half life is 1 day. The same values for the other nucleus B are that is 32 and half life is half day. So and so 320 grams of each A and B are taken initially, then find the ratio of their number of atoms are present after 2 days, they are asking, right. So number of nuclei present in the sample at any time t is equal to n is equal to n naught into e power minus lambda t, right. So now and here, so in this case even lambda you can write it as t half is equal to ln 2 by lambda, or else lambda you can write it as ln 2 by t half, this you can take it, right. And here, so they are asking initially the number of nuclei they haven't given, but they gave the mass of the sample, both are of 320 grams only. The number of nuclei you will get it as that 320 grams divided by mass number will give you the number of nuclei, right. So directly I can write it. So this one I can write Na by Nb, that will become, so this is 320 grams divided by for this one this is 16 into e power minus lambda a, e power minus lambda a into t divided by this will become again 320 grams divided by this will be 32 into e power minus lambda b into t. Fine. Okay. So that ratio only you have to find, this gets cancelled and this will be, so 2 times, the 2 will be in the numerator, then you can write, so Na by Nb is equal to, so 2 times, right, this will become e power minus, so lambda value you can write it as what you can write it e power lambda a, that lambda a value is as per the thing you can write it as ln 2 by t half. T half as per this situation that is given as t half is equal to half life for A, they gave it as 1 day. So 1 day into, they are asking in time 2 days, and that means multiplied by 2, right, that divided by, so here the same thing I will write it e power minus ln 2 by, so the half life for this one is for the second one is, that is 1 by 2 into time is 2. So again this will become, so this entire thing you will get it as 4 in the numerator you will get it. So now this is 2 and this will become, so 2 into this will be e power you are getting it as 4 you will get it, this will become 1 by 4 you will get it, and so here also you will get 2 power 4 you will get it, 1 by 2 power 4 you will get it. So this will become e power ln of what do you say, this is 1 by 4 divided by again e power ln of, so this will become 1 by 60. So you can remove this entire thing and you will get 1 by 4, here also 1 by 16 you will get it. So, ultimately you will get it as, so this will become 2 into, so this is 1 by 4 divided by 1 by 16. This will become 4 to you will get it as 8. So, the ratio of the number of nuclei of the atom present after 2 days is equal to 8. Okay, that is all. Thank you so much.